Crime, Wine, and Chaos contains adult language and graphic content. Listener discretion is advised.
None of us are free until all of us are free. Chaos Kids. I'm Naomi.
Preach. I'm Amber, and this is Crime, Wine, and Chaos. That's right. And until then, It's just chaos.
Holy shit, it's chaos.
It's just fucking chaos.
So much chaos. So, find your people and hold tight.
Yeah.
And start figuring out how to take care of each other better than you already are.
Yeah.
Because we're going to need each other so much more. Like so much more.
One of our club members just posted on Patreon about how she's listening to older episodes from 2023. And she could tell how much lighter our souls were back then. Yes. Before. Yeah. Before. It's
you mean before the genocide started and before the election and
it's like
before
in Lion King
eggs like tripled in price overnight.
When Simba comes back to see that Scar has taken over. That's what's happening.
Like before like global warming was showing up on like a weekly basis, like globally everywhere. Just every time we turned around, another like natural disaster that was like a once in a 500-year occurrence.
A man-made natural disaster.
Just everything.
Everything's
it's so
on
many
fire.
things.
Everything's on fire.
Everything.
But you know what? We could try to channel our inner 2023 in this space.
We can. I was just telling Amber right before we hit record that suddenly I got like butterflies in my stomach. And Amber was like, well, if this was like a long time relationship, that would be a good sign. And I was like, is it a good sign? I don't know.
You're still excited, a little nervous, a little nervy.
I'm a little nervous. You guys.
Like we're doing a live show or something.
Kinda.
No.
Yeah. Why am I nervous?
I don't know. Is your case today particularly like, ooh?
I mean, not any more than other one we've ever done. I mean, I've done way wilder stories than this. People were one of our Chaos Kids Club member, longtime listener Jen, my friend. She posted on Patreon the other day that she literally had to stop.
Yeah, the mom, right?
Yes, the Shelley Notek story. Yeah, she had to stop and walk away and come back and take a break because it was so bad.
That one was really dark, sister.
Really dark.
Really fucking dark.
And then Jackie, my other friend, who's also a longtime listener and a Chaos Kids Club member, was like, oh, you should read this other book by the same author about a story that's local. And I'm like, yes, I will. Shit. And it's going to be insane.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
I know.
Okay. Well.
So, I don't know. I don't know why I have butterflies today, sister, but I do. You took the day off so you could do a bunch of laundry. Did you start drinking then?
No, because today? I have errands to run after this and we don't drink and drive.
We don't drink and drive.
I've got my water here and...
Such a responsible citizen.
Thank
sister. You. We appreciate that. It's okay. I've got water because that's my MO.
That's right.
I don't even have any little Fever Tree ginger ale cans right now. I should put them on the grocery list.
Yeah, you should.
Those
are so
house.
cute.
And every once in a while, I'll treat myself to one. You
should.
So
treat yourself. Yeah.
Well, okay. So my chaos is. It's a little rough. So what we're probably doing kind of a double Debbie Downer.
Yeah, for sure.
You're on crime.
I am. Mine it has I feel like we'll leave here feeling inspired, even though it's a bummer. Oh, and also we have a new club member.
Oh, we do. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I forgot. We talked about it right before we hit record, and then my butterflies kicked in and everything went out the side of my brain. So yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Tressa, our podcast friend.
Yes, Tressa. Not only did she leave us an amazing review on the Apple Podcast app, but then she turned around a week later and signed up to be a Chaos Kids Club member, which is just so awesome.
What a diehard. And I'm now subscribed to her podcast because it's amazing. It's called The Wounds That Do Not Heal. So go check out her show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you guys. Let's support Chaos Kids Club members. Or
Yeah.
Chaos Kids. Let's support the Chaos
That's
Kids
right.
for sure.
For sure.
Thank you, Tressa.
Thank you, Tressa.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Sister,
Yes.
tell me
Okay.
a bummer story that apparently will leave us inspired anyway.
Okay. Well, this one was actually a suggestion from our brother cousin.
Oh,
not
who
e-
also does the music for the show,
Correct.
you guys.
And sometimes edits.
And sometimes edits.
Mhm. But he
started outsourcing that work a while ago.
for
but-
sure. He's got it figured out.
Yeah, delegation, you guys. That's how it's done. That's how you get shit done.
He's not even a true crime person. And he texted me and he's like, this was amazing. So we're gonna go to Pennsylvania,
Okay.
March 18th, 1964.
Okay.
Olden days.
It's before I was born, so you can say that.
That's right.
You actually said old timey one time, and it was like the year I was born or something.
Oh shit. Well, you called me an old lady last episode.
That's different. Old lady's a state of mind. We talked about this. You choose old lady life. That's a choice.
You choose old lady life. All right. Fair enough. Sorry about that. Anything pre the year you were born is old timey. Post is not. Okay.
Yeah.
So 38-year-old Arthur Robinson was heading down Hazleton Municipal Airport Road and turned off the main road onto a side dirt road. This is in Millville, Pennsylvania, which is like mid northeastern in Columbia County.
Okay.
Okay. So this dirt road led to an abandoned strip mine, which had turned into like a dumping ground. And this story said that Arthur was there to dump some ashes, which to me means cremation, but it's like a dumping ground. So I don't know if this was someone he really cared about. I don't know. It's kind of
But not human. It could have been just
barbecue ashes, like fire
don't-
ashes.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what he's doing. So he gets out of his car and heads over to the cliff that looks over a ravine. And that is when he sees a very small dead body down there.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm. It's clearly a child. And she was just down there with all the garbage and shit that had been thrown over the side.
People just throwing trash into a ravine. It's like, I can't.
Rewind about 45 seconds when we were talking about global warming is not a natural disaster.
So those that were there in person or who have subscribed to the Patreon and have listened to all of the bonus episodes will know about the story I did at the live show about the movie River's Edge was based off, remember?
Yeah.
And she was also thrown off a ravine where people just went and dumped garbage.
Yeah.
It wasn't a dump.
No.
It was just a place people went and just dumped their garbage.
Fucking awful. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a child.
So yeah, it's 1964. So he gets back in his car and gets the hell out of there and gets to somewhere where he can call the police, right?
Right.
They arrive at the scene and they're able to identify the body as 9-year-old little girl Marise Chiverella. Marise had gone missing earlier that day.
Oh.
An autopsy showed that she had been sexually assaulted and her cause of death was strangulation. So this turned into a massive investigation trying to figure out like who killed this little girl, right? This is awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
The task force contained over 250 officers and they interviewed over 9,000 people.
Whoa. At the time, that was like the population of northeastern Pennsylvania.
Correct.
Or something.
Yeah.
Right. Jesus.
Yes. So they get dozens of tips and they interview all kinds of like shitbags who could have been capable of doing this. But unfortunately, without any evidence, they have no real leads, right? In this case, I'm going to be listing off a lot of names and I'm also not taking questions at this time.
Great. Perfect.
So Maurice was born on Thanksgiving Day in 1954. Same year as Dad. Oh, she would be 70 today.
Yeah.
She was born to parents Carmen and Mary. They had 5 children, including Maurice, and they lived in a small duplex on Alter Street in Millville. Right next door to their home was the neighborhood market that her family owned and operated.
Okay.
Maurice would even help out her dad in the store. She was really cute. She would greet customers, give back change, stock the shelves, you know.
Yeah.
She was really shy but sweet, and she was like a tiny little thing, like barely 50 pounds.
Yeah.
She was a student at St. Joseph's parochial school. She attended mass every day, and when she played dress up, it was always as a nun. I know.
Can't. Oh my God.
Old-timey vibes, am I right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Her brother Ronald said that she was always smiling and that she was quiet, thoughtful, and kind.
Yeah.
So on that morning of March 18th, 1964, Maurice was getting ready for school, just like any other day. But this particular school day was different because they were going to have a celebration for one of the nuns at school. And Maurice was really excited.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't get celebrations at school all the time.
Yeah, for sure. She packed 2 cans of fruit to bring to contribute to the meal. I know.
It's so
I
cute.
know. And normally she would walk to school with her brother and sister, but on this day she wanted to be early so she could drop off the fruit cans for her teacher before 8 a.m. mass. So she left early.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the first time she had ever walked to school by herself. Mm-hmm.
It's always like the first time she walked to school by herself, to the bus stop by herself, to her friend's house by herself. Like what?
I know. I know.
Okay.
But she never made it to school.
Right.
At her funeral, it was standing room only. And the town was absolutely rattled that this kind of thing could happen. Of course, we hear this all the time, right?
Sure. Yes.
But all of her classmates and teachers were there, and her tiny little white coffin was brought into the church. Tiny coffins.
Tiny coffins shouldn't even exist.
Yeah. Her mom, when they closed the coffin, because it was Catholic, so it was open casket, she just collapsed onto the floor.
Yeah.
So this was a small town, and like I said, after this, everything changed, like how people function. People were reluctant to let their kids outside. They walked to school in pairs. This kind of thing was like never on the radar in this town, right? So back to the investigation. Police canvassed the area immediately after the murder. They pulled lists from all of the high school students who were absent that day and spoke to them. They went door to door and talked to people. About a week after her murder, they did have a guy who wandered into the police station and said he was looking for a place to sleep.
Okay.
Yep. This guy had a really long history of mental health issues, and he even spent some time in like an inpatient mental health facility. But after an exhaustive investigation into him, they came up empty-handed.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, police arrested a peeping Tom. This guy was from Ohio and was a long-haul truck driver.
I hate that they call it that. We need a better word.
First off, sorry to all the Toms in the world.
First off.
They just arrested
Second
a
of all,
pervert.
they make it sound a pervert. They make it sound like he's just it's
almost
it's
cute. Like
it's
peekaboo,
cute. Yes.
peekaboo.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's voyeurism.
Yes, but like non-consensual voyeurism.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this voyeur, they were able to verify his alibi that he wasn't even in the state at the time. So next there was a guy who was approaching young girls and asking them if they could give him directions to the nudist colony.
Sorry. Was there a nudist colony nearby?
I don't even know.
Because, like, if there was, like, it's still weird, but at least it's like it could be a legit question. He's just asking, like,
children. I mean,
like, at least it would be a plausible question, is all I'm
right.
saying.
I suppose. Yeah. Well, sure. Yes. Is there a nudist colony? Oh, then there was a young guy who was a dishwasher at a local restaurant, and he confessed to the murder of Maurice, but
Like voluntarily?
yeah, but all of the details he was providing were things that were already released to the public. The police released him, and he later admitted that it was a false confession, that he was apparently he was very depressed and suicidal, and he was hoping to get just like
The death penalty?
yes.
Oh.
I mean, that's
That's
that's an avenue, I guess.
I suppose.
But that guy even held the magical cans and passed. So
Oh, as in he was telling the truth?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 2 weeks after Maurice's murder, a 14-year-old girl was walking to a friend's house when she saw a man standing on the side of the road. And the man comes up to her and grabs her shoulders. And the girl slaps him in the face and then kicks him and runs off.
Good girl.
Mm-hmm. She runs to the closest house screaming and told the people that she was just attacked by a man with light curly hair wearing a zip-up jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, by the time the police got there, this guy was long gone.
Right.
And this all happened just a few blocks from where Maurice was found.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So a few days after this attack, police arrest 20-year-old Robert. This is such a name. I know how we make jokes about the like, you always say like all three of their names when it's a douche canoe. This is Robert William Joseph Frederick Jr.
Can we get one more name in there, though? Just like one more.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, we could squeeze it in there. Oh my God. I wonder what his driver's license looks like. They just run out of room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy matched the description that the 14-year-old had provided. He was a local resident. He lived right behind Maurice's school. He ended up confessing to the attempted abduction of the 14-year-old, but then later changed his story. He said that he was standing there because he was meeting his girlfriend and he mistook the 14-year-old for his girlfriend.
How old's his girlfriend?
I don't know.
Come on.
He said that he tried to apologize, but she slapped him and ran off.
Sure.
He did ultimately get the charges dropped, and there was never any connection to Maurice's murder.
Okay.
A month later, police look into 40-year-old Matthew Douglas. He lived on the same street as Maurice. He was recently arrested for improper communication with two young boys. So police questioned him about his whereabouts on March 18th, but his alibi checks out. He did end up going to prison for whatever was happening with those two young boys.
So what we uncover throughout this investigation is that this town
Yes.
absolutely had every element it needed in order for something like this to happen to Maurice, because there are creepers among them that they just chose to overlook.
Yeah, that's in here somewhere. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Let me list off a couple more creepers, okay?
Okay, great.
So, now the community is getting more uneasy because not only is her murder not solved, but the investigation has sort of lifted the veil on the shitbags that are all around them, right? Yeah. It was literally my next sentence. Why do you always do that to me?
Because we're like this. We're like
Okay. About 2 months after her murder, a composite sketch goes out to the media. The sketch was of a balding white man with a sunken face. Sounds hot. I'll tell you.
Okay.
Eyewitnesses said that he was spotted around 8 that morning, the morning that Maurice went missing, driving on the same street where she was walking. These witnesses also said they saw him park on that last stretch of street on her route, and the timing and location was like too spot on, and nobody had seen this man before or recognized him or had seen him since.
I was just going to say, in this small town, it was like nobody knew who this guy was.
Yeah. You know, the kind of people are like, who's that driving on my street?
Right.
Yeah.
From around here.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Everyone's talking about it because
Yes. Did you see that guy? Yeah, I saw that guy.
Then Another sketch is this is like reminds me of Bridge Guy.
Okay.
And a completely different sketch is released. There were a few witnesses who came forward and said that they saw a light green older model car driving off of that dirt road leading to the ravine where her body was discovered. And this man was described as white and middle-aged with a round, fleshy face, salt and pepper hair, and wearing glasses and a hat.
Fleshy face.
Fucking gross.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Get some tightener. Get some tightener. You gotta
collagen.
There it is.
Everybody should be taking collagen.
There it is. If this was last episode, it would be collagen.
What?
Gelatinous.
Oh, yes.
I've since mended my ways.
Forgot. I'm glad.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, then a third sketch is released.
And
Yep. The details for this sketch came after a woman in Maurice's neighborhood said that a man came to her door and pretended to be some sort of maintenance person. She let him in and he attacked her.
She let him in?
It's 1964. I mean,
Oh my.
luckily, she's able to get away. She described him as white, around 25 years old, slender build, neatly dressed, and soft spoken. Which that's
Ew.
creepy, right?
With a very weak handshake.
Oh my god! Yeah. Ew. Oh my god. Okay, last one. Then there's a fourth sketch.
What?
I'm not even kidding.
What in the hell is going on?
Okay, witnesses reported seeing this guy parked in the area where Maurice was last seen. He would come and sit on the side of the road for 2 weeks. He would come and do this. He was described as middle-aged with a rough-lined face, salt and pepper hair, and the build of a heavy-set working man. He was parking there every day for 2 weeks, just watching people until March 18th, the day that Maurice was killed, and he hasn't been seen since.
So there's just all these random dudes that nobody recognizes in this tiny town.
Yeah.
Doing shady ass shit.
Correct.
But things like this could never happen here.
We don't even lock our doors. Mm-hmm.
The denial is so thick with this group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 5 months after Maurice's murder, a 9-year-old girl was walking alone when a man pulled over in his black Chevy. The girl started to run off, and so the man sped away. And when this little girl provided a description of the man, he sounded like sketch number 2, the fleshy
guy?
Fleshy guy. Mm-hmm.
Ew.
You have a good memory. You kept all those. You're like 2 was flesh guy, right? Mm-hmm. Then there was a guy named Harold Rudolph Nicholas, a 51-year-old who just lived a few blocks from Maurice. He was found dead under suspicious circumstances. So he had been questioned early on in the investigation, and he had claimed that he was at home during the time that Maurice was killed and that he never left the house. But later on in the interview, he slipped up and made a comment about how cold it was that morning. Mm-hmm. He was scheduled to come in and hold the magical cans, but he never came in. Police found him dead in his car from carbon monoxide poisoning.
Maybe dead by suicide?
Yes. Yes. Then, several hours away in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, a man walks into the local police station and confesses to killing a 15-year-old girl in Chicago.
I'm sorry, where was this police station?
A few hours away in Uniontown.
But still Pennsylvania?
Yes.
And he confesses to a murder of a 15-year-old in Chicago?
In Chicago, yeah.
What?
I know. You can thank Jeremy for this web.
I didn't even bring my red string today.
Well, you're going to have to do it in your mind.
You know what? I was caught out. Unprepared.
I'm sorry.
I will never do that again.
I'm sorry. So this guy is Robert Engler. So the detectives from Maurice's case head over to Uniontown to talk to this guy. But afterwards, it's determined that he had never been to their area of Pennsylvania before. He wasn't the
Okay.
guy. This just keeps going.
Okay.
You don't have to memorize this all.
Okay.
Okay. A year after her death, police follow up on another lead. A patient at a mental health hospital had stated that he had taken some sort of religious medallion from Marise's body, which was a detail that had not been released to the public.
Oh, the back pocket info.
Mm-hmm. So her parents, Mary and Carmen, were able to confirm that Maurice did own a medallion like the one that he described, but Maurice didn't wear her medallion that day because the chain was broken. And they later found that medallion at home. So this was like eerie.
Weird.
I know. Yep. So now we're jumping to 1985. 2
Oh.
decades after Maurice's murder, Chester Conrad, Chester, a 59-year-old man who was a known predator, was arrested on charges involving multiple young boys. This guy had a long rap sheet. They do a search of his home. They find sexual assault of children material, female rubber dolls, and a whole bunch of newspaper clippings about Maurice's murder. But once again, there was no physical evidence linking him to her.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So Pennsylvania State Police revisit her case annually. They even put the DNA found on her clothing through CODIS as soon as that was available, but there's no matches. Her siblings kept her story alive. They gave interviews and made sure to stay present in the media so that she wouldn't be forgotten. Their dad, Carmen, passed away in 2006. He died never knowing who killed his daughter. And he worked that little or that grocery store that they owned up until his death.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Her mom, Mary, passed away in 2014 at the age of 90. She also died not knowing who killed her daughter. And then in February of 2020, Pennsylvania State Police receive an email that was odd. This email was from an 18-year-old college freshman, Eric Schubert. Eric said he was a genealogical researcher and was familiar with the case involving Maurice, and he would like to help. He didn't have any schooling. He had just started college. He had no actual professional expertise in the area, but he was like kind of like a prodigy, like really smart and had a mind for puzzles. As a kid, he was able to organize and like catalog facts in a way that was like, what the fuck, right? His mom introduced him to genealogy as a kid. It only took him about 2 weeks to get really good at it. And he started making family trees for people, like even strangers. And he would do these massive, like, family trees. By the age of 18, he had 10 years of experience in genealogy. And by this point, he didn't want to just make family trees for fun. He wanted to solve mysteries.
Okay.
So in this email, he was offering his services free of charge. He included a link in his email to a webpage that he had made that included a picture of himself. And the detective that opened the email said, I don't mean any disrespect by this, but he looked like a child. Like he does, like chubby cheeks and glasses. So this detective decides what the hell, and they invite Eric out for an interview, and they met at a coffee shop. Eric ordered an apple juice.
Like a juice box?
Yes. But he brought with him basically like a portfolio of all of his work that he had done for 10 years, including 2 other cases from police departments that he had helped solve.
Oh.
Yeah. So the detective was impressed and agreed to let Eric help. What they gave him was just that partial DNA sample from her clothing. And he uploaded that into 2 different public genealogy sites. So right away, he was looking at thousands of partial matches. So these would not be direct relatives, but like very distant cousins or something, right? So one by one, he started building family trees and looking for the overlaps. He tracked marriages, divorces, births, all of it, right? And Eric said, it's not just a science, it's instinct. You have to feel your way through the web. When he finally got it down to a manageable list, he handed it over to detectives who then used like traditional police work to eliminate people through like birth dates, criminal records, residencies, timelines, right?
Right.
They get the list down to 4 men, and only one of them is still alive. Yeah. So they go undercover and stake out this guy's house, waiting for an opportunity to collect a DNA sample. But after a few days, he hasn't discarded anything. So they decide just to knock on the guy's door and ask,
Hey.
can I have your DNA?
Yeah.
Yeah. They explained the case. They asked him for a DNA swab, which he gladly provided. He's like, sure, here you go.
Okay.
And it turns out he wasn't an exact match, but it did point them to one of this guy's 2 brothers.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. At the time, the brother lived within walking distance of Maurice's home. And back in 1964, he had a lengthy criminal record. The brother was not any of the suspects mentioned earlier, but he was someone that police had talked to at the time.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was James Paul Fort. At the time, he was a 22-year-old bartender. But they still needed an exact match in order to close the case. So, and he had since passed away. He passed away in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And so the Pennsylvania State Police filed a request to exhume his body.
Whoa.
I know. A few months later, his body was exhumed, and they are able to confirm that he was a perfect match to the sample found on Maurice.
I have chills. That is wild.
I know. So police released this information to the public in 2022, and people who were still around and knew of the case were like perplexed because this guy was like not on the radar at all.
Right.
He had grown up in the area. He had graduated from high school there in 1959. Through the 60s and 70s, he lived within a mile of Maurice's home. He never got married or had kids. He never really had a stable job, but people who knew him said there was a darkness to him. Mm-hmm. And even though he wasn't one of the suspects, he did look an awful lot like sketch number 3, which was limp handshake, soft-spoken guy.
Oh, the
Mhm.
maintenance worker?
Yes.
The fake maintenance worker.
Yes. Yep. In 1974, 10 years after Maurice was killed, James Fort was arrested for aggravated assault. He had taken a 23-year-old woman out to a lounge that night, and the pair left around 4 a.m., and James offered to drive her home, but instead of driving her home, he drove into the woods and forced himself on her. By sheer luck, another car pulled into the woods behind them, and he kind of panicked and drove out of there. And then he still didn't take her home. He just dropped her off on the side of the road.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. The woman called police, but unfortunately, all he got for this was 1 year of probation.
Okay.
Yeah. So police make it known publicly in 2022 that James Fort was Maurice's killer. And when they do that, another woman comes forward named Gina, who was 9 at the time that Maurice was killed. And she was walking with a friend on Maurice's street when a white car pulled up and the man inside urged the girls to get in. When the girls said no, the man kept on pushing and pushing. So eventually Gina and her friend ran away. And when Gina saw the picture of James Fort being circulated in 2022, she knew that that was the same man that tried to get her into the car that day.
Oh my God.
So this fucking guy was just in the same area, just being a douche.
Did they ever put his stuff into CODIS and see if he matched any other cold cases?
I don't know. I hope so. I presume.
God, right?
Mm-hmm. James Fort died in 1980 of a sudden heart attack at the age of 38.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. And then, quote, he was mourned by few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
38 of a heart attack? That is young.
He was living the hard knock life. That's what happens.
I guess. It's a telltale heart is what that is.
Yeah. So back at this 2022 press release, Maurice's siblings were still alive, and they spoke at the press release. Her sister said, "We never sought revenge, only truth and justice." Maurice's case was one of the oldest cases in U.S. history to be solved with genetic genealogy. When Eric was asked about what made him want to be on this case and why he wanted to help, he said, "She just wanted to bring fruit to her teacher. That is what stuck out the most to me."
I know.
And that is the murder of Maurice Chiverella.
Oh, sweet
I
baby.
know. Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
The text from Jeremy said, you should look at this story where a 60-year-old case is solved by a teenager. And I was like, okay.
Oh, wow.
I
That
know.
was a wild ride.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot more of these.
I know.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. That just sounds so tedious to build those family trees and try to make the connections. And
It's either tedious or it's just a good fucking time for
yeah,
someone.
for
You know what I
someone, it's a
mean?
great time. Yeah.
For puzzle people?
I can see though, like one misstep and you could get, like, if you don't realize you've made a misstep until many, many hours later.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
That's how I used
Yeah.
to feel using Microsoft Access. I'm not kidding.
I mean, it's similar, right?
Yes.
Because it's a domino effect.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah,
To
totally.
try and figure out where you made the error.
Well, good on him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got a nice career for himself doing that
I
now.
hope so.
Yeah, that's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sister, we're gonna get into it here.
Okay.
You ready for some chaos?
Always.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you about Jerry Kane. Do you know about Jerry Kane?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Jerry Ralph Kane Jr. was born in Columbus, Ohio in 1964 and then moved with his family to Springfield, Ohio in 1975. Jerry graduated from South High School in 1982. The following year, in 1983, at the age of 18, he made his first of 3 runs for city commission.
Okay.
Jerry had already developed a skepticism of the government, claiming later in a podcast hosted on his own website that it started when he was a child. Quote, "The reason I look at things so differently is because when I was a child, I came home from school one day. My dad told me that something they had told me at school that day was a lie.
Oh.
After he'd gone on about it for a while, really angry, I asked him, why would my teachers lie to me? And I hate to say this, but he turned into a coward at that moment. It was like he saw he had just opened up a great big can of worms and was trying to shove the worms back inside the can. He kept saying, never mind, forget it. I kept pushing him the rest of the night. I did take one thing from the conversation, and that is they're lying to you. So ever since then, all I've done is try to find out what the lie is." Jerry's first run for commission ended in disgrace when he had to drop out after being charged with stealing beer from a railroad boxcar parked downtown.
Okay.
Roger Baker, the former mayor of Springfield and assistant principal of South High School when Jerry was a student there, said, quote, "I was totally amazed when I found out he'd done something illegal." He meant stealing the beer.
Yeah.
During his time at South High, Roger didn't remember anything else that stood out about young Jerry Kane. Quote, "I thought he was stretching to run for the city commission. As I recall, he was one of those kids who never did anything spectacular, but everybody knew him."
Mm-hmm.
During his second failed attempt at city commission seat in 1985, 20-year-old Jerry said he had just received his real estate license and was working with a local company. His last bid for city commission was in 1991, where his petitions to get on the ballot fell short by a single signature.
Oh. Dumb.
Jerry served in the Army Reserves in the late 1980s and married Hope Drummond in 1991. For most of the 90s, the couple lived in Hardin County near Lima. Jerry was a long-haul truck driver. Hope worked as a nurse. Their first child, Joseph, was born there. 2 years later, they had a daughter named Candy. When Candy was only 6 weeks old, Jerry and Hope found Candy lifeless in her crib.
Oh.
They brought her to the hospital where the staff diagnosed Candy's death as due to sudden infant death syndrome.
God.
But the hospital wanted to be sure and insisted on an autopsy. Jerry objected, but they did the autopsy anyway.
Hmm.
Though those that knew Jerry would point to this incident as the moment he moved from skeptical of the government to outright hostile to it.
Oh. Okay.
Jerry gave up his driver's license and his state-sanctioned livelihood as a trucker and became increasingly antagonistic to law enforcement in Ohio.
Mm-hmm. Is this going to be like Killdozer? Oh, shit.
Jerry and Hope homeschooled Joseph, and father and son were extremely close.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph would take on his dad's anti-government views from a very early age. It is said that by the age of 9, Joseph could recite the Bill of Rights and carried a toy gun everywhere he went.
How's Hope feeling in all of this?
We don't get a lot from Hope in this.
Oh, okay.
In the spring of 2002, Jerry and Hope bought a house in Springfield. Neighbors of the Kanes said that their yard was always overgrown and full of high weeds. And just months after they purchased the home, the bank filed for foreclosure, stating the Kanes were already in default on a principal balance of over $38,000 plus 9.8% interest. In response to the foreclosure, Jerry represented himself and submitted a lengthy affidavit of truth.
Mm-hmm.
In his decision, the judge described the gist of Jerry's legal argument as thus: that he and Hope are legal fictions and neither are willing to recognize the court's authority or were not liable under a suit filed by the bank.
Oh my God, I know these types.
I'm sure you do.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry's affidavit had 60 points. One said, quote, "The United States is bankrupt," all caps.
Mm-hmm.
While another made the bold claim that the bank, quote, "continues to attempt to collect a debt sans a bona fide validation of the debt."
Okay.
He claimed that the mortgage was not a lawful contract.
What would be if not a mortgage?
His affidavit also demanded damages for more than $45,000 plus $426 in expenses for having to defend, quote, "this clearly frivolous and spurious complaint."
Okay.
He also demanded the release of all encumbrances against his home and that the case be dismissed.
Okay.
In 2004, Springfield police arrested Jerry for shooting a 13-year-old boy with a BB gun.
Oh my God.
According to the way Jerry and Joseph told the story, Joseph, who was 10 at the time, attacked the officers in an attempt to free Jerry, and the police responded by beating Joseph.
Okay.
A sheriff in Clark County, Ohio, said he issued a warning to law enforcement about Jerry in July 2004 after Jerry said a judge tried to, quote, "enslave" him when he was sentenced to 6 days of community service for driving with an expired license plate and no seatbelt.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry claimed he was a free man and asked for $100,000 per day in gold or silver.
Oh God, Jerry needs some mental health treatment. That's what needs to happen here.
In the warning, the sheriff wrote to his fellow officers, he stated, quote, "After listening to this man for almost 30 minutes, I feel that he is expecting and prepared for confrontations with any law enforcement officer that may come in contact with him."
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the foreclosure case was still going strong. The bank submitted multiple filings dismissing and denying Jerry's various assertions and documents, calling them baseless, and that they, quote, "obviously have no legal or other significance."
Right.
Another stated that the affidavit, quote, "contains nothing even remotely related to the bank's legal filings." This case would drag on for 4 years when in 2006, the judge would issue a judgment entry and decree in foreclosure, stating in his decision that Jerry's filings were nonsensical ramblings, frivolous, absurd, and ridiculous assertions causing undue delay.
Mm-hmm. And I'm imagining that throughout this 4 years, there's still no payments being made.
I mean, probably.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Quote, this is from the judge. "Jerry Kane has filed several documents with this court that do not in any meaningful way defend against J.P. Morgan's action in foreclosure. The court is not amused."
But we are.
Yeah. These sentiments of Jerry's and his actions in court and with law enforcement were not products of his own reasoning. He didn't just come up with these tactics and ideas simply from a deep distrust of the government in his own mind.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry had found his people in the sovereign citizen movement,
Yep.
often abbreviated as Sovcits. This movement is a loose group of anti-government types that believe in varying conspiracies around governments and financial systems. Sovereign citizens aren't like an official organization. In many regards, being organized collectively to any degree is almost antithetical to their beliefs.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, these people are not that far ideologically from the people that moved to New Hampshire for the Freetown Project.
Correct.
Shout out to Donut Lady.
Shout out to Vernon.
Vermin.
Oh, Vermin. Sorry.
The movement first appeared in the U.S. in the early 1970s and has since expanded to other countries, mostly English-speaking countries. Translation, white countries like Canada, Australia, UK, and New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Sovcits believe that the courts have no jurisdiction over people and that there are ways to go about engaging with the courts and the government that can make a person immune to laws and regulations. Things like writing a specific phrase on bills that you don't want to pay. Sovcits have a whole litany of language specific to their worldview that they employ to assert their sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
They believe taxes are illegitimate and reject social security numbers, driver's licenses, and vehicle registration. Most of them are looking to avoid paying taxes, ignoring laws, eliminating debts, and or extracting money from the government.
Right.
The roots of this movement can be traced to U.S. far-right groups like the Constitutionalist wing of the American Militia Movement and Posse Comitatus, an extremist group that formed in the late 60s with strong ties to the white supremacist Christian identity movement.
Oh.
Posse Comitatus members believe that they are the true Israelites, the people who were chosen by God. They think that the Jews want to help Satan destroy civilization and undermine white citizens' rights through the Federal Reserve and the IRS.
Yeah.
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 And so the sovereign citizen movement was considered a white supremacist ideology, but nowadays it attracts a lot of other demographics, including a significant number of African Americans, many of which declare themselves Moorish.
Moorish.
The Moorish Sovcit movement was started in the 90s by former followers of the Moorish Science Temple of America and the Wichita Nation, which is an African American group that asserts they are a sovereign state of Native Americans and appropriated their name from the Ouachita tribe of Washita, Oklahoma.
Okay.
The Moorish believe that African Americans are descendants of the Moabites and are Moorish by nationality, specifically from the Moroccan Empire, and Islamic by faith.
Okay.
Various black sovereign citizen groups have appeared, including those with New Age philosophies. Sovereign citizen ideas have also been adopted by some groups within the Hawaiian sovereignty movement and various other fringe political or religious groups such as Black separatists or the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the sovereign citizen movement is a mixed bag.
Sounds like it.
This is personal side note.
Okay.
This is one of those things where it's like, you know, when we cover cults and you're like, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Uh-huh.
Nope, but not that.
Yeah.
And I'm out,
Mhm.
right? It's like there's stuff within here that, like, as an anarchist, I actually agree with.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then the roots of it and like the conclusions they draw and the way that they interact with based on those beliefs, it's like that's where I go, wait, what?
Yeah, that's where you're at.
You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Like
totally.
you've lost me now. You know what I'm
I know
saying?
exactly what you're saying.
So the whole thing somehow ties back to conspiracy theories around the Federal Reserve and the decision to move away from the gold standard and start using its citizens as collateral. Sovereigns believe the American government set up by the founding fathers, don't even get me started on those fuckers, with a legal system the sovereigns refer to as common law, was secretly replaced by a new government system based on admiralty law, the law of the sea and international commerce. So they stake their lives and their livelihoods on the idea that judges around the country know all about this hidden government takeover, but are denying the sovereign's motions and filings out of treasonous loyalty to hidden and malevolent government forces.
Whoa. Okay.
Under common law, or so they believe, the sovereigns would be free men. Under Admiralty law, they are slaves. And secret government forces have a vested interest in keeping them that way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy.
Since 1933, the U.S. dollar has been backed not by gold, but by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. So to Sovsits, this means that the government has pledged its citizens as collateral by selling their future earning capabilities to foreign investors, effectively enslaving all Americans.
Okay.
They believe this takes place at birth. There is a faction that believes this secret treasury account scheme was set up after the Civil War with the adoption of the Fourth Amendment, giving Black people full citizenship, which also made Black Americans permanently subject to federal and state governments, unlike themselves, the white people, who are sovereign because they're white.
Oh, my God.
Offs.
Wow.
When a baby is born in the U.S., a birth certificate is issued, and the hospital usually requires that the parents apply for a Social Security number at that time. Mm-hmm. Sovereigns say that the government then uses that birth certificate to set up a kind of corporate trust in the baby's name, a secret treasury account, which it funds with an amount ranging anywhere from $600,000 to $20 million, depending on which Sovsit you're talking to.
Okay.
By setting up this account, every newborn's rights are cleverly split between those held by the flesh and blood baby and the ones assigned to their corporate shell account.
Okay.
The clues, Amber, are on the birth certificate itself.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Okay. So since most birth certificates use all capital letters to spell out a baby's name, mm-hmm. John Doe in all caps is the name of the corporate shell, or what they call the straw man. While John Doe, just capital J, capital D, is the baby's real flesh and blood name. As the child grows older, most legal documents will utilize capital letters, which means that state-issued driver's license, marriage license, car registration, criminal court records, cable bill, the correspondence from the IRS will all pertain to this corporate shell identity, not the real sovereign identity. So when you come at me for debts using an all-cap name, you're coming for the wrong thing. Because that's not me.
Oh.
That's my corporate shell. That's a straw man. That's not my flesh and blood debt. That is the debt of that actually belongs to the U.S. government.
Oh, wow.
The process...
I don't have words. Okay, keep going.
The process sovereigns have devised to separate the straw man from the real person man is called redemption. Mm-hmm. That's what they call it. And its purpose has two parts. Once separated from the corporate shell, the newly freed man is now outside of the jurisdiction of all admiralty laws.
And how do they free themselves? They just don't do all caps in their name?
Well, more importantly, by filing a series of complex legal sounding documents, the sovereign can tap into that secret treasury account for his own purposes.
Do you know how many filings I took in at the court of nonsense, of hundreds of pages of nonsense from sovereign citizens?
I knew you would have.
All the time. And
I knew you would have.
And one of them would say like even responding to a traffic ticket or something like that, where it would have like a little spot for you to fill in your name and it would say defendant. They would cross it off and say something like, own entity, but you know what I mean? Like they didn't want to be called any label. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Because they're trying to separate themselves from the straw man, Amber.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay. Over the last 30 years, there have been hundreds of sovereign promoters packaging different combinations of forms and paperwork attempting to perfect the process. While no one has ever succeeded, of course, they know with the religious certainty of a true cult believer that they're close. All it will take is the right combination of words.
To crack the code.
That's right.
Mhm.
The most common redemption scheme is called acceptance for value, or A4V, which is a money for nothing scheme that claims people can extract money from the government through secret methods. Redemptionists often claim that by filing certain documents, they can reclaim their sovereignty and the money that was deposited into their secret account at their birth.
Oh, they're going to collect on that.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the whole goal.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The movement became more radical in the early 80s when a former member of Posse Comitatus, Gordon Call, was killed during a shootout with law enforcement and turned himself into a martyr. As the Posse Comitatus movement evolved, its members created pseudo-legal bodies that claimed to speak with the authority of natural law or common law and to supersede the government's legal system. The most common tactic of these common law courts was to issue false liens against their enemy's property.
Okay.
While many sovereign citizens own guns, their weapon of choice is paper. A simple traffic violation or pet licensing case can end up provoking dozens of court filings containing hundreds of pages of pseudo-legal nonsense.
Uh-huh. Yep.
It isn't just the number of pages that is causing courts to sag under the weight of these filings. The documents are written in a kind of special sovereign code language that judges, lawyers, and other court staff simply don't speak.
Correct. Because it's nonsense.
It's nonsense. Sovereigns believe that if they could just find the right combination of words, punctuation, paper, ink color, and timing, they can have anything they want. Freedom from taxes, unlimited wealth, and life without licenses, fees, or laws. They're just a few strangely worded documents away.
This is so weird. Okay.
After the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, where one of the bombers was a known sovereign citizen, Posse Comitatus was considered a far-right extremist group, which overshadowed the taxed protester aspect of the ideology. It was near the turn of the century, I'm going to say that from now on, that the term sovereign citizen came into the forefront, which reflected the language change, putting increased focus on personal liberty through absolute ownership of personal property.
Okay.
They needed to separate themselves from, right.
Sure.
In 1996, the case of the Montana Freemen attracted public attention to the sovereign citizen movement. The Montana Freemen were Christian patriot sovereign citizens and direct ideological descendants of the Posse Comitatus. They used false liens to harass public officials and committed bank fraud with counterfeit checks and money orders. The group was surrounded in June 1996, and after 81 days of armed standoff with the FBI, several of them received long prison sentences. The Southern Poverty Law Center, most notable for tracking hate groups and extremist organizations in the U.S., has tracked the sovereign citizen movement, and in 2010 estimated that 100,000 Americans were hardcore sovereign believers, with another 200,000 just starting out by testing sovereign techniques for resisting everything from speeding tickets to drug charges.
Wow.
According to SPLC estimates, the number of sovereign citizen-influenced militia groups in the U.S. increased dramatically between 2008 and 2011 from 149 to 1,274.
Shit.
Jerry and Joseph's bond grew even stronger in 2007 when Hope died from complications of pneumonia.
Oh.
Soon after, foreclosures were on the rise around the country, and Jerry started studying deeds and mortgage contracts. He'd been just barely getting by with odd jobs, but those were drying up. So he decided the way to make money was to travel around the country giving seminars on how to use administrative processes to stall and potentially stop foreclosures based on a variant of the redemption theory that somehow allowed people who have lost their homes to foreclosures to supposedly get them back at a fraction of their value.
Oh my God.
Jerry charged a fee for his seminars, which varied by area, but even if people didn't have money for the fee, he'd allow them to attend.
Well, that was nice of him.
Mm-hmm. Jerry is hauling Joseph all over the country, selling his snake oil, although not even doing very well at that. He had a radio show or a podcast online somewhere, and he used to spout his beliefs there and often lamented on how hard it was out on the road, especially when all his seminars were sparsely attended, if he got anyone there at all. Jerry also recorded his seminars and musings and posted them on a YouTube channel. He sold trusts and did private consultations as well, but none of it was bringing in much money.
Right.
By 2010, Jerry and Joseph had been on the road a lot over the past couple of years. And in February, while giving one of his seminars in Las Vegas, he met 50-year-old Donna Lee Ray. Donna lived in Clearwater, Florida, and ran a permanent makeup business. She was in foreclosure and trying to keep her house. Within weeks of the two meeting, Jerry and Joe had moved in with Donna and her two children.
Oh, no.
Donna was also a sovereign citizen, later reported as Jerry's common-law wife, and had been recently involved in a protracted legal battle in a dog licensing case.
Oh, my God.
She filed 10 sovereign documents in court over a 2-month period, then declared victory when the prosecutor just couldn't even anymore and decided to drop the case.
Uh-huh.
A 3-year dog license in Ray's Pinellas County, Florida, costs $20.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, I'm like, a dog license case should never turn into a legal battle. Like, what are we talking about? God.
She's sovereign, Amber. She shouldn't have to license anything.
And so was her dog. Her dog doesn't need a
100%.
number.
No.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Jerry appeared to be tiring of his life on the road and said several times in his final broadcast that he was depressed. Quote, "We tried to start a homeless shelter. The first 2 people we got, all they had to do was put out 8 hours of labor a week to stay there. Not only did they not do that, they stole from us. Everything sounds great until you put people into it. It's really depressing." Mm. Jerry and Joe had been traveling the country for months, rooming at low-cost hotels that let their dogs stay with them. Earlier that year, they had done a seminar in Denver, and no one showed up. They were getting road weary. They had headed out of Clearwater with the intent that they would be back soon enough and settle there with Donna and her kids. And Jerry would find another way to make a living that didn't have him and Joe crisscrossing the country for months at a time.
Right.
Around 11:30 a.m. on May 20th, 2010, Jerry and Joe were traveling through West Memphis, Arkansas, on I-40, heading east, actually on their way back to Florida, where Jerry had his last seminar scheduled before starting his new life with Donna, when Jerry was pulled over by a West Memphis police officer. Jerry was driving a white Plymouth Voyager minivan and had unusual Ohio plates.
Uh-oh.
During the traffic stop, according to West Memphis police, so grain of salt, Jerry didn't have a driver's license and there was a brick of weed in the van.
Okay.
But also, Jerry had 2 arrest warrants out at the time. Charges in Ohio pertaining to forgery and theft of a vehicle through deception that he had yet to face, going back to 2006, the same year as the BB gun incident.
Mm-hmm.
And only a few weeks prior to being pulled over in West Memphis, he'd been arrested in New Mexico for driving without a license and concealing his identity.
Well, he wasn't. His shell was.
Right. He'd actually been preparing a bunch of documents to file in New Mexico with the intent of punishing the police officer who arrested him. Jerry was determined to make the officer and his family pay. He had talked about it on his podcast. Quote, "I ran into a Nazi checkpoint in the middle of New Mexico where they were demanding papers or jail. That was the option. Either produce your papers or go to jail. So I entered into commerce with them under threat, duress, and coercion and spent 47 hours in there."
Mm-hmm.
Jerry said he planned to file a counterclaim alleging kidnapping and extortion against those involved in his arrest and detention.
Kidnapping. Sorry.
Sometimes I don't disagree. Jerry also said he had an officer sign a document that said the officer must pay for using Jerry's name.
Okay.
Quote, "I am now putting together an invoice for him for approximately $80,000 in gold for the 8 times he used my name. I already have done a background check on him. I found out where he lives, his address, his wife's name."
Oh, jeez.
Another officer arrived on the scene to provide backup at this traffic stop in West Memphis.
Yeah.
And once there, the officer that pulled Jerry over attempted to frisk Jerry. But Jerry turned and attacked the officer, and it turned into a scuffle that sent them both down an embankment and into a ditch.
Oh, my God.
This is when Joe emerged from the passenger side of the minivan and opened fire on the officers with an AK-47.
Holy shit.
The second officer ran to the rear of the other officer's cruiser and returned fire with 3 shots from his handgun through the windows of the car he was hiding behind. He made his way behind the hood of his own vehicle, which was parked directly behind the other officer's vehicle, and fired 4 more times at Joe, but missed. Joe fired back multiple shots through the hood of the car and hit the officer in the head with a ricochet.
Jeez.
He died on the scene. The officer that tussled with Jerry was also shot and died at the hospital. Jerry and Joe hopped into the van and fled the scene. There was a whole... I somehow missed putting this in here. There was a whole... Then it was like a couple hours of insanity in West Memphis.
Right.
Because now there were these cop killers on the loose.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So a FedEx driver from Houston that witnessed the whole thing called 911 because neither officer was able to make an officer down call themselves. And it was about 2 hours later when two officers spotted what they believed to be Jerry and Joe's minivan in a Walmart parking lot, and both were wounded in gunfire exchanged with Jerry and Joe.
Both of these officers too? So now they're
Another set of
shooting in
officers.
Walmart? Oh my God.
In the parking lot.
God.
A wildlife officer responded to the standoff at Walmart and rammed his vehicle into Jerry's minivan, preventing Jerry and Joe from escaping. The wildlife officer exchanged fire with Jerry and Joe through his windshield using his patrol rifle, killing Jerry and wounding Joe before exiting his vehicle to continue the gun battle.
Jesus Christ.
Dozens of officers then surrounded the van, and after several more minutes of gunfire, Joe was shot to death by police.
Wow.
After the scene was cleared and the bodies examined, it was learned that the two officers that had died in that first encounter, one had been shot 14 times, the other 8 times. Jerry was shot 18 times and Joe was shot 8 times. Jerry and Joe were identified the day after the shooting. Later, it would be reported that the minivan Jerry was driving was registered to an address in New Vienna, Ohio, called House of God's Prayer. The building once housed the Ohio headquarters of the neo-Nazi group Aryan Nations, which was sometimes known as the Church of Jesus Christ Christian. The Ohio unit was headed by a violent white supremacist named Ray Redfern, who died in 2003. The church was reportedly owned by a man named Hoag Tabor of Middletown, Ohio. The New Vienna Aryan Nations operation was infiltrated in the late 1990s by an FBI informant named Dave Hall, who wrote a 2008 book, Into the Devil's Den, with his FBI handler, Tim Berkey. In the book, Dave Hall writes that Hoag Tabor had been a Klansman for close to 5 decades. Hoag Tabor was a longtime Klansman who actually had a calming influence on Ray Redfern, who once shot and nearly killed a police officer. The House of God's Prayer Building was also once a Klan meeting hall long before Hoag Tabor acquired it and Ray Redfern began using it as an Aryan Nations office.
Jesus.
This is where the minivan was registered.
Yeah.
It's not known to what extent Jerry and Joseph Kane were connected to Hoag Tabor or Aryan Nations, but Jerry was definitely involved in a world of patriot conspiracy theories, and his time traveling the country was spent teaching these things.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry and Joan Kane were not the first sovereigns to lash out at routine traffic stops. In 1995, in Ohio, a sovereign named Michael Hill pulled a gun on an officer during a traffic stop. Hill was killed. In 1997, in New Hampshire, Carl Draga shot and killed 2 officers and 2 civilians and wounded another 3 officers before being killed himself. In that same year in Idaho, when brothers Doug and Craig Broderick were pulled over for failing to signal, they killed 1 officer and wounded another before being killed themselves in a violent gun battle.
God.
And in 1993, an Alabama officer approached a family's car in a strip mall parking lot. A shopper there had told the officer that a boy in the back seat was asking for help. The officer walked to the car and asked to see the father's driver's license. There was an argument, and the father made some typical sovereign claims. Then, without warning, the father pulled out his gun and shot the officer.
God.
Badly wounded, the officer tried to run to his car, but instead met the wife of the sovereign, who pulled out her own weapon and shot him dead.
Oh my God.
The couple had warrants out for their arrest in Florida, and the car they were driving had unusual sovereign-style license plates. Sovereign citizens George Sibley and Linda Block were executed for the murder of the state of Alabama by the state of Alabama several years later. So while most Sovcits clog up court systems to fight the government, some of them do turn dangerously violent.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry had claimed in his videos that violence wasn't the answer or his intent. Quote, "Violence doesn't solve anything. It's not violence we're after." In one of his online videos on YouTube, Jerry is seen giving a lecture in 2009 about his philosophy. He says, quote, "I don't want to have to kill anybody, but if they keep messing with me, that's what it's going to have to come out." That's what it's going to come down to, is I'm going to have to kill. And if I have to kill one, then I'm not going to be able to stop. I just know it.
Jeez.
Someone who knew Jerry said anyone who knew Jerry Kane saw this coming. Quote, he had claimed more than once it would be suicide by cop, and he was going to take as many of them with him as he could. Everybody knew something like this would happen. It's not that he wanted to die. He wanted to go out in a blaze of glory. He wanted his name to live forever.
Whoa.
And that is the story of Jerry Kane and his son Joseph, and a little bit deeper dive on sovereign citizens.
Well, thank you for that. Holy shit.
I don't know how I never saw anything about this. There's a movie coming out starring Nick Offerman.
Really?
Called Sovereign. It's about Jerry Kane. Yeah. And I just saw videos about that recently. I was like, I'm diving in.
Wow. Well, I guess he got his wish.
diving in.
He's living on.
He is
It was sort of Killdozer like.
kind of Killdozer like.
Mhm. His poor son, too. He was just indoctrinated in that.
Yes. And went down with his dad.
Yeah.
They wore like white suits when they would do their seminars.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm. It's very, some of it, you can see some clips of his videos and stuff still.
Mm.
It's,
That's spooky.
I mean, most sovereign citizens aren't doing that.
Yeah.
But, it's like a natural, to me, it's like a natural, it makes sense how these things come about.
Yeah.
You understand, when you understand that the systems we live in and the way that we live isn't natural and isn't normal, and we're all like struggling to figure out how to like, stay sane in it.
Mhm.
Like it makes sense that these people go in these directions.
Yeah. Find another way or, yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. And I can see the frustration. I don't know about leading to fucking violence and killing people, but
that's the part where it's like,
whoa, yeah.
like just straight out murdering because you got pulled over. You know what I mean? Like that's
too far, Jerry. Too far.
I mean, it's pretty extreme. It's pretty extreme. But like, I don't know. I was going to say something and I lost my thought. It doesn't matter. But anyway, I was like, here we go. We're going to find out about sovereign citizens. We're going deep.
Thank you for that. That answers a lot of I mean, yeah. So many of those in the court. So many. And very young me when I first started was like, what is going on? I'd never even heard that term before.
But you did eventually learn that sovereign citizens were a thing and to expect this from them.
Yep. And all I would file stamp their documents and say, thanks. It didn't do any good to say this is nonsense. I won't take it. It didn't do any good.
Right.
I just pretended like it was super legit.
Well, like, here's the thing. This is the part that I do agree with, right? It's like, I had no say in the laws.
Mm-hmm.
I did not, like, I never, like, signed a thing that was like, I consent to the laws that you've created and told me I have to live by.
Right.
Like, I didn't agree to licenses or the fees or you know what I mean? Like, I didn't agree to any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like that indignation, I can understand.
Yeah, totally.
That's the part. The part that's nonsensical is to think that you can somehow be exempted from it.
Right.
Like, you can be indignant all you want. You can break laws if you want to.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You can not license things, whatever. But if you encounter the system wins.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, you're better off staying under the radar.
Yeah. You're harming yourself.
Right. Guys like Jerry are like putting themselves right up against the system. Like, I dare you. Like, try and make me. Try and tell me. Try and fucking get money from me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, the system will.
For sure. Yeah.
It will.
Yeah. I fought the law and the law won.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might be able to take out a couple of individual officers in the process, but that doesn't change the result.
No. No. Oh, Jerry.
Anyway,
Wow, sister.
well, we did it.
Thanks for that education. We did it.
You're so welcome. We're so welcome. Oh, you guys, be like Tressa. Go join the club. Patreon.com/yakety yak. Crime, wine, and chaos.
That's right.
$5 a month. It gets you a bonus episode every month. You get new episodes every week, a day early. Sometimes we do virtual wine nights. It's a good time over there. You can sign up to be a free member and talk over there with other Chaos Kids and access what we don't put behind the paywall. And we love to have you.
Be like Double Tressa and give us a review on Apple.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's exemplary.
Yeah. Do everything she does.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then go listen to her podcast.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sister, I love you so much. That was chaotic.
So chaotic. Goodbye.
Bye.
Crime, Wine, and Chaos is produced by 8th Direction Records. Artwork by Joshua M. Davis. Music by Jeremy Williams. If you would like to support the show, you can visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/Crime, Wine, and Chaos. Cheers!